Everyone expects foldables to get bigger every year. The latest Z Fold 8 wide dummy suggests the opposite. It looks thinner, shorter, and more pocketable than Samsung's recent folds. If the physical proportions are real, this is the design shift that finally makes wider folding phones feel practical. Starting with what we can actually see, the new hands-on clip from Sonny Dixon shows a Galaxy Z Fold 8 wide dummy model from multiple angles. Dummy units exist for casemakers, accessory partners, and retail planning. They're also sometimes built by third parties using leaked dimensions. Either way, they often get the broad shape right. The first impression is simple. This thing looks extremely thin. It also looks compact when closed. The cover display appears squat, which usually means a shorter overall body. That choice can improve one-hand use, but it also changes how comfortable typing feels on the outside screen. Around the back, the camera layout matters. The dummy shows a dual rear camera setup. The modules look closer to the Galaxy S25 Edge style than to the multi-lens stacks on prior Fold flagships. Two lenses also signal a product positioning shift. It suggests Samsung may be prioritizing thinness and balance over a third sensor. Now the big caveat. The clip shows a visible gap between the two halves when the device is folded. A hinge gap can be a dummy artifact. If the model lacks an inner display and internal support layers, the halves won't compress the same way. It can also be exaggerated by tolerances in a low-cost unit. Ice Universe weighed in and called this a low-quality model. That's important. Treat this as a rough reference for proportions, not a final confirmation of fit and finish. Still, rough references are useful. They can tell you whether Samsung is chasing compact width and low thickness, or sticking with a taller, narrower look. So where does the wide idea fit? Leaks have repeatedly pointed to a wider aspect ratio than previous Z Fold devices. The goal is clear. Make the outer screen feel more like a normal phone. Reduce the tall remote control feel. Improve app layouts without needing to unfold as often. If Samsung really goes wider, it also affects the inside experience. The wider chassis can make the main display feel less narrow in portrait. That helps reading, web browsing, and split-screen layouts. It can also change how the crease catches the light, depending on the hinge geometry. Speaking of the crease, Samsung Display accidentally revealed a creaseless-looking foldable OLED panel at Mobile World Congress earlier this year. The expectation is that the panel will land in the next Fold generation. Ice Universe now claims the crease control will be as impressive as Oppo's recent approach, like what you see on the Find N6. Oppo has leaned on high-resolution 3D printing to fill uneven gaps and stabilize the folding structure. The result is a crease that's far less visible when the screen is open. If Samsung matches that level, it upgrades the everyday feel more than any single spec bump. You notice the crease every time you scroll across it. But manage expectations. The better crease doesn't automatically mean higher peak brightness, better color, or improved durability. It mainly changes perceived quality. And one report suggests Samsung's upcoming foldables won't use the privacy display tech that debuted on the Galaxy S26 Ultra. That may not matter to most buyers, but it hints at where Samsung is and isn't spending its budget. Let's talk names because the branding might be getting messy. One recent leak suggests the wide foldable could end up being called the Galaxy Z Fold 8. Then the device people expected to be the standard Fold 8 might shift upward and take the Fold 8 Ultra name. If that happens, wide becomes a design direction rather than the retail name. That split would also explain the camera decisions. The thinner, wider, more compact foldable can't always fit the same camera hardware as the top-tier model. Samsung could place the most advanced imaging system in the Ultra. The slimmer variant could focus on portability and comfort. Now to the specs that keep popping up in leaks. The Z Fold 8 Wide has been linked to a Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 chipset. It's also associated with a 4800 mAh battery and 45W wired charging. Those numbers signal a familiar Samsung pattern. Keep charging competitively, but not extremely. Hold the battery steady while chasing slimmer hardware. The main display size floating around is 7.6 inches. That's in line with recent generations. It suggests Samsung isn't trying to redefine the inner screen class. Instead, it's trying to refine the footprint and the feel. A 7.6-inch panel in a shorter body would be a meaningful packaging win. Camera leaks point to two 50MP rear cameras, think main and ultra-wide, with no dedicated telephoto. That's a notable trade-off for a premium foldable. It would push buyers who care about zoom toward the Ultra or toward Samsung's slab flagships. But for many people, a strong main camera and a solid ultra-wide cover most daily shots. Now compare that to what's expected for the Fold 8 Ultra. Leaks say it retains Samsung's traditional fold aspect ratio and carries a 5000 mAh battery. That reads like the spiritual successor to the Fold 7 line. If Samsung sells both, you'd be choosing between portability and maximum feature depth. So what does the dummy really tell us? It tells us Samsung may be taking a risk. Ultra-thin designs can introduce compromises. Heat management gets harder. Structural rigidity becomes more demanding. Hinge durability and dust control have less margin. Even small issues like the feel of the side rails matter more when everything is shaved down. It also tells us that Samsung is watching the market. Early foldables from Oppo and Google prove people want a device that feels like a normal phone on the outside. Samsung's narrow outer screens have been a long-running complaint. A wider model answers that directly, without forcing every buyer into the same form factor. The launch window matters too. Samsung is expected to reveal its next foldables in July. That lines up with previous summer launches. Between now and then, expect more supply chain clues, more case leaks, and likely clearer renders that show the inner display and the hinge structure. Until we see production hardware, treat the hinge gap carefully, treat the thinness with cautious optimism, and treat the camera count as a strong hint about product tiers. The clearest takeaway is that Samsung might finally be building two different fold experiences, instead of one design that tries to satisfy everyone. This dummy model doesn't confirm the final Galaxy Z Fold 8 wide hardware, but it signals Samsung's priorities. The thinner, more compact body and a wider outer screen would address long-standing complaints. If improved crease control arrives as well, the next Fold generation could feel more refined. Now we wait for official dimensions and pricing. If you care about foldables, do one thing now. Decide whether you trade a telephoto camera for a thinner body and a wider cover screen. Then tell me your choice in the comments and why. So if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more exciting tech news and updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.